Yeah. Okay. Uh, that's great. To take it further from a very ideation stage of your specifically idea, and I think so. At the level that you are setting, the application is already, I assume, right? So, how did the idea itself implanted in your mind? It might be a possible scenarios wherein you're traveling to bank. It might be your personal, problem that you identified in the market, and that's how you try to solve that for the specific targeted groups. So, how
Yeah.
did you came with the idea itself?
All right. So thank you for that. So the idea started with basically market research. So in 2019, we created a startup, an investment startup, which we raised money, from local investors, and we were able to build the startup. But eventually we're faced with the realities of the ash market, and so eventually we shut it down. We shut it down in 2020. But between 2020 and 2021, we were doing a lot of market research. Um, and then that was how the idea came from, basically market research and customer feedback. In a way, that was when we were able to conceive the idea for AjoBank, because we saw the gap in the market. We understood what people were going through, and people needed access. People needed help with a lot of things, and so that was how we formed the idea. And so the idea for creating access for unbanked people started. But the one thing we found out when we started building was there are actually a lot of solutions out there, who are currently building solutions for the unbanked, so which we bring the question, how is AjoBank going to be different? What exactly are we doing that these other guys, are currently not offering? Even though in as much as we know that the current available solutions are not enough, to cater to the needs of everybody, there are millions of people who don't have access to banks, but again, the question is, how is AjoBank going to be different from these other solutions? And that was when, again, a lot of research that helped us to figure out, loopholes in the current available, policies, banking policies. And then, we realized where the problem was coming from, why people still did not have access, that information was when I brought about how we built AjoBank and how we built the software, the current offerings. And that's exactly what sets us apart from, the other solutions. Funny enough, what we're currently building, nobody currently offers that. And the reason is because of limitations. And then because we figured that out, we just started building, without really making a lot of noise. Because again, there are a lot of people building here. So you first of all build and then start gaining strength, before you go out there. So yeah. So that was how the idea was formed. And then the current solution, that's how we're able to build everything.
Wow. Okay. You mentioned about the research and the validations as well. So is this terms different from each other, or in the process of doing the research itself, the validation has been already done, or it's like combination of the same?
So so depending on your startup idea, sometimes during the research you get your validation. But again, because this is a very, very exciting space. This is fintech, and in fintech, actually bringing it to do your research and then validate, because the reason is because you're providing a particular solution for people doesn't mean that people will actually pay for it. People like it doesn't necessarily mean that people would use it. For example, if you're providing access to making just transactions, there are a lot of people currently doing that. So there's this thing about Nigerian market where the customers are just loyal to wherever it is that they started with. So if you're not offering something better, maybe cheaper, or giving them more access, nobody's going to use your product, right? So you need to now validate by taking your solution, take it to the market, and then see if people are ready to jump on it. When people start switching to you, because maybe you're cheaper, or you're providing more services, and then that okay, yes, these guys are going to use my product, and then you start building more, and then you start doing your marketing.
Okay. What do you think, the right time of, doing the validation? If it is the MVP state, or let's say the ideation stage itself, or let's say once your application is ready. So what do you think once should be the validation done? Or it's just a whole process throughout the journey of entrepreneurship?
So the validation comes in, I think, again, I'm speaking for fintech, because it's different from different industries.
Yeah.
I think the validation comes in like two different phases. The first one is during the ideation stage. That's when you go to the market, just pick a sample of people and then you start asking them questions, because a lot of this customer feedback will help you, so, we did that a lot. We just went to people and started asking them questions, just to understand how the problem really affects them, the extent, the depth of which the problem is actually affecting them. So we did that part, and then it seemed like, oh, okay, these guys actually need our solution. And so when we built the first MVP, we took it back to them, and they started saying, because we wanted to see people's reactions, so we took it back to them and wanted to see their reactions. And a lot of people actually wanted to use it. I mean, when you start hearing things like, oh, I wish you guys built this thing earlier, it would have saved me this, I wish you guys did this. And, then at that point, you start to smile like, okay, I think they're going to use that product, and then you can ask that. So, all of that validates your idea, validates that you're on the right path. And then, you start doing things, you start expanding on whatever it is you're doing, your operations, your tech build, the development, everything, but once you get that validation.
Any specific, platforms you mentioned about the Instagram, right? So any more specific platforms that you had interacted with clients or customers?
Okay, so for us, majorly our target market is focused on, people who are majorly offline, they're not people who are really online. So our target market are really people who don't even, over 90% of them don't have access to smartphones, or internet. Okay. So most of our research was on the field, our validation was on the field. We had to go to, communities, go to market associations, different clusters of, this offline. And, again, reading from statistics, there's billions of dollars in transactions, that these guys are carrying, but it's majorly run by cash, in that session, or in this section rather, so it's like leaving out a whole market. And so we went to those people, to do our validation, to do our research, to be able to build what we just built.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So any any entrepreneur or any student or any founder who's starting this journey with fintech startup, so how that person should do the validation part, because if they are not validating the market and getting started with the MVP or the product, then they are only thinking as a founder, right, and not as a market. So what is that particular insight that you want to give to these founders?
Okay, so I think the first thing is, as a founder, you need to understand your market. The same question that the investors would ask you, who is your target market? Give me a use case. As a founder, you need to understand your target market. You need to have your own use case. So when I build this product, who is going to use my products? You need to be able to identify your consumer persona. And then when you do that, you know exactly where to go. For example, if I'm building a digital banking app, right, I know that my target market will majorly be, professionals, people who live in urban areas. And these are people that most likely use smartphones. They are young professionals from from the ages of maybe 20 to, let's say, 40, 45. So I can easily identify my target market. And so once I'm able to do that, I know where I can reach it down from: social media, gatherings, events, tech events, forums, social networking events. These are where you can locate these people. And so as a founder, I know that this is my target market, and this is where I can see them. And then I just look for a way to reach out to them, either using online surveys. So sometimes over here we have founders who pay people for surveys, like, oh, take bonus, take this, you get this. And so once you're able to identify, one, your target market, two, where to reach your target market, and then all you have to do is find a way to reach them, ask them a few questions, they answer you. So their answers would what we will help you validate, or you can even run there's this early, we'll call it what's the name of this, like early bird, for when you drop a new app in the store, and then you want people to test it, and so people just see it and they download it and then just use it for a particular period of time. You can also do that when people start using. So from people downloading and using it, you can measure your metrics. You can check, oh, this person downloaded and deleted after 2 days, or this person has been using since this person downloaded. You're able to validate based on people's actions, right? Because you can easily read what they are doing, and all of that will help you validate. Again, know who your target market is, identify how to locate your target market, and then you start reaching out to them.
Great. How was the response from, these people where you were doing certain kinds of interviews? Do you had a positive, feedback? Not positive feedback, but did they actually appreciate the process of, doing the feedback journey?
Yeah,
Because all are not interested to do so, right?
oh yeah, true. So I think again, it's about your approach. It's about the approach. For someone like for us, we're majorly targeting the offline market, and so we understood how to approach these guys. We understood how to have conversations with them, and so we didn't just go wearing suits, looking like corporate people. The moment you go there looking, you just look like uh so
What's wrong
because
with them?
exactly, so because we understood who they were, we understood their lifestyle, and so we just went there like I spoke with them, there are different clusters, and we're able to relate with them, have conversations with them about their markets, their business, and that way these guys were able to give us direct feedback. Some of them went as far as showing us, the current solutions they use, the transactions they were doing, how it was affecting them. Now, how they did not have access to, a lot of these guys, it's a cash market, and so a lot of these guys now have access to like liable loans, and then they were depending on some people to give them, cooperatives to give them loans, which was done by churn. So a lot of times, even when they needed the loans, they could not get it. They had to wait for their turn. So it was, and we're just seeing a lot of, feedbacks, and we're just noting down, even though we're gisting, but we're noting everything down like, okay, yeah, okay. And then when we all gathered the results, we saw patterns like, like over 70% of people said they needed access to this and they couldn't find it. That way, but again, we didn't go together like 50 people were, no. Everybody went to different clusters. So just to be able to gather, informations, that sense. And then we made sense of the information we got, and that's how we did ours. So understand the people, and then you'll be able to create your manner of approach. And then people generally respond, people are quite friendly.
That's brilliant. If they are here because we are trying to build certain wonderful applications.
Yeah.
So what's the next step? Like, how did you approach the MVP? That will be for sure like MVP. So did you hire interns, or let's say you hired an CTO? It might be possible like you are the CTO itself. So
Yeah.
how did the journey went through?
So yeah, thank you. So funny, right? When we started after getting like the customer feedback, I think the next thing we did was there's somebody that had always been with us, right? That's always been with me, from we built the first startup together, the first startup together that we shut down, and so he was more of so he was a web developer, and he wasn't really a mobile developer, or wasn't really deep into development, but he was a web developer, which was good for a start, so
Wonderful. Yeah.
so, so what I did back then was, I got him to develop a landing page, right?
Okay.
The landing page had absolutely no function, but he developed the landing page. And so from that landing page, we started communicating our ideas, on social media, right? On LinkedIn, on Instagram, we built the whole social platform. We just, because there are platforms I've attended that mentors I've spoken to, and then the first thing they tell you is, be visible. Nobody's going to know you're building an idea when you're just thinking about the idea in your head, and then you're writing, no, be visible. So we built the landing page, and then, and that was just the beginning for us. And, the beautiful thing was, because of the way we communicated the idea on the landing page, an angel investor from Australia reached out to us, via LinkedIn, and he was interested in, when he saw the landing page, he was interested in what we wrote there, and I was like, okay, like you guys might be onto something. We set up different meetings, and and he was like, oh, he was interested, and so that's how we got our first fund. He immediately invested, in the idea, and then he did more than just investing. He brought in the first developer. He brought in the second developer. He just recommended these guys, and then we brought them on board, and that was how we started building. He gave us money, he gave us, tech, and then from there, we brought in more developers. We brought in like 3 extra developers, and then we just started building the idea. So now we have like 2 in-house developers and about 2 others. Because one of them left, he had to go to school, and so we have 2 other developers that we're currently paying, our contract. But 2 in-house, and so that's how we just started. From the funds that we received, we just started building our MVP, and between in about I think 10 about a year, let's say a year, in about 1 year, 12 months, we're able to build the MVP, because, it's a journey. Again, it's fintech, the processes of creating partnerships with banks, like commercial banks, with other financial institutions, because you can't just open anything here. They will come after you. So you have to create partnerships. So we have access to banking APIs, create this, blah, blah. And then, all of that process, but the most important thing was, the angel investor, who believed in us from the start and then gave us the funding. And then from there, we're able to bring in our tech guys and then start building the software and, where are we currently at. So again, being visible. And then the idea again, we built a landing page. If you open the landing page, if you click on anything, nothing is going to work, because we didn't have anything developed, but we built something. We just did a landing page and then that was it. And that got us started.
So you only not crack the market, you understand the market in the research and development process. You made the landing page. That means you started with the MVP, and in the same phase you got the first check from your investor. That's angel, right?
Yeah.
So you believe in iteration, like the cycle of the the pivot part, the perseverance part, the market research, and again the need of the whole ecosystem itself. Amazing. And that's how you're still developing the product. And how's the journey so far?
Oh yeah, yes, in tech, your product is never finished. So yes, we're still developing because we're opening more features. We're making the product better. Right now, we're currently developing the mobile app, for Android and iOS. Which is exciting for us. So yeah, it's a process. We keep building and everything. As more people are using the web app, now we're building the mobile app, trying to.
How with the team of technologies currently?
What?
The tech team.
Oh, the tech team. Yeah. So, well, I'm actually happy for the kind of tech team we currently have. So it started again from the guys, the angel investor brought, and right now they form like the base of the tech team, because they were with us from the beginning, building the database, building the getting the server right, and so now they sort of like supervise the other, tech developers that we're bringing in. And so so let me just tell you what I do. What I do is monitoring, right? Monitoring and evaluation. They basically handle everything. I've communicated my ideas. And sometimes I read the codes, I just, go through the codes and then read like, oh, okay, makes sense. And then I leave everything to them to handle. And then I focus on the business side. So yeah, it's been exciting having those guys on board.
Wow. So as a founder, you have to check each and everything, right? Just like you mentioned, off the code. So you're from the tech background?
I didn't get that.
You are from tech background? Technology background?
Well,
IT?
Well, so I don't code. I think because of what I'm building, it became necessary for me to understand, coding, right? And so I started learning, I started teaching myself how to read and understand these codes. And so when I see your call, I can see, okay, what did you do here? Oh, okay, this is why. And then I can tell you that, oh, for the call that you did here, you missed out something. We need, so for example, let's say you're trying to do like a KYC and then you left out one information, from your codes, I'm able to read that, oh, you did a request for this. And then I'll tell you like, oh, you did a request for this. And then quickly go in there and add it. So it became necessary for me to learn how to read codes, and I can. So I have access to all the documentation. I have access to the GitHub. I can read everything you're doing, so it became necessary. Again, as a founder, you're working across board, because again, it's your thing. It's you that really understands, what exactly you're trying to put out there. So yeah, it comes. So eventually, it comes with time, right? And then, let's say this time last year, I didn't know how to read the codes, but over time I studied it. I figured it out. So
brilliant. We have to learn every day. Every day is learning for founders. Yeah. I want to understand the hierarchy of your team. Let's say you're sitting on the top of the hierarchy. You're the founder, right? You might be having your co-founders. They're sitting next to you or, below you. They might be following your orders, or you might be collaboratively working. And you have the CTO who is taking care of technology. You have the CMO, like not CMO, but you have the marketing head who's taking care of marketing. You have, someone, operations partner who is taking care of, partnering with banks, onboarding banks and all the stuff. And multiple verticals, right? That is absolutely needed. So I want to understand this whole hierarchy and how the following goes, to you, and how do you interact with them day-to-day basis?
All right. So yeah. So basically, everybody on the founding team, like the key guys on the founding team, the tech lead, the marketing lead, everybody, we speak like, almost every day, because you have to be able to communicate again, the idea over and over and over again, so you have less work to do. And so every morning, we have discussions. Okay. And so the way I did it is, everybody already knows the way I work. Every morning we share updates, so we use, a project management tool where we listed out everything we need to achieve for the year, and then the set dates. So everybody has like your task with people. Everything is assigned to people, right? And so everybody has that project management tool on their phones, on their laptops. So you know what you're working on. And so every morning we speak, we just talk about, well, this is what we're currently doing. These are the blockers. How can we fix this? We talk about all of that, because, there will always be blockers, always, so, you talk about the blockers, you talk about why, and again, there's one problem you always have, in tech, missing dates. You always meet your due dates. You say, oh, I'm releasing this feature next week, Wednesday. Trust me, you're missing that date, but one thing we were able to do was, we work around it. So even if we miss Wednesday, we try to release it on Saturday, but again, certain dates helps you to, move fast, that we're lacking behind. And so, I discuss with all of the leads, tell them, oh, how exactly are we going? What are the updates? And then when we're able to share it, we all talk about the blockers for each department, for tech, for marketing, for field, and then we resolve that. And then we're now going to general meeting with, every other person. And then we tell them, oh, these are the blockers, this is what we're going to do. And everybody already from there, you know what you're supposed to do. And then the next day, you're sending reports to either your marketing lead, but we do. So I speak with all the leads almost every day, but for the general team, we do only Mondays. Mondays we all have a meeting. But for the leads, I think we talk almost every time at different time. In the night, the morning, at midnight, everything. So yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. How do you identify the problems that's happening, on the bottleneck of the, the whole hierarchy, and you identify that problem and point out like this is something, we have to progress on. Or let's say someone is not working in that particular aspect. So you as a founder, like what are the actions that you have to take? And, firstly is identifying the problem itself. That's the major task. So how does that you try to, notice?
Yeah, so again, because you're a founder and then you're involved in all activities, you're involved in tech and marketing and sales and operations, everything, even recruitment, because currently we're recruiting more people. And so you're involved in everything, right? So when you identify a problem, again, once you're involved in everything, it becomes easy for you to identify problems, right? Because you're following the process. So once you identify that, the first thing I do is just call the lead, in that particular section, if it is marketing, and reach out to the lead, tell them, say, this is it. This is what I've noticed. We cannot have this. Let's do it like this. Or what do you suggest, right? In some cases, when I know the problem, I just say, what do you suggest? Or when I know, okay, this is what we're supposed to be doing, and I just go straight to the point, like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Please, let's change this. That's simple as that. And then because everybody understands the mission, and I think one thing that, that stood out for us was when we were trying to get people to join the team, we're very particular about people that had passion for startups and tech. Because you're speaking with somebody that has passion for what they are building, every correction you give them, it comes as, oof, why did I miss this? And then it makes it easier for you to, to be able to quickly correct something, because they also want to build something, that is really good. And so when you correct, they immediately, get onto it. And then for cases where somebody is not working, one policy. So in everybody's, contract, it's stated that, you're supposed to do this, that for a particular number of hours. And so because that has been easily spelled out, everyone that is not working, when I call like, you're not really pulling your weight, and they immediately understand, right? And then you see the next week, they're, in and out, doing this. And so the thing is, communication among the leads, the moment, you're able to build a thing where, communication is easy, everybody understands, you're able to get things done easily.
There might be some dark days, in the flow of approaching, so many things at the same time. We have to motivate other team, right? We have to motivate our co-founders. We have to take care of them in, ultimate different aspects, their personal lives, their, relationships, their relationship with us, their relationship with the rest of the co-founders. we are, a responsible person. So
Yeah,
how do you push them, at certain points whenever it is needed for them?
it's needed. Yeah. So having worked in a startup, I worked in Shuttlers, and Shuttlers is a startup that currently on their Series A. I'm actually proud to be a part of that. So having worked with a startup that has raised that much, I understand, what it takes to build team. So there are a lot of activities, the team bonding activities. It's just to re-energize everybody, re-energize the old team. Because when everybody's just working and working and working and working and working, at some point, we're humans, they get tired, so we create a lot of team bonding activities. And then during that team bonding activity, you're able to, reenact like, oh, this is the goal. You're able to, to like speak to everybody again and like, guys, this is the target. This is what we're after. This is, and then you tell them, you keep doing it over and over again. Tell them the goal, tell them the opportunity, like, this is where we're at, but this is what we can be, right? And then when everybody sits down and think about it, like, wait, this is true. We can actually be this, and then this is what it means for each and every one of us. And then everybody is up again. And then you see the following week, the energy is back up, and everybody's on fire, and everybody's, delivering, their task. And it's important to be able to balance it, the work and then the social part, where everybody is able to just relax for a bit. And then, they get clear what the goal is, and you just keep doing that over and over and over again, and you're able to get things done faster. So yeah, it works.
That works. That has to be working, right? If our team is not motivated, things get stuck, at times. So yeah, yeah, tricky. Now, moving on to the marketing part, I'm sure like, you have built a very good network with angels, and at the same time you are funded. So how do you invest that particular money for the, marketing part? Most of the startups I've seen, they try to do the advertisement spend. They try to burn the cash, as soon as they have it. So how's your specific approach for the marketing, journey, and how do you try to acquire the customers in the first place?
Okay. So I think what we did, right, or what we're currently doing, is actually quite easy. Again, because I have worked in a startup, and then because I worked in a startup where we're less than about 7 people in the company at that time, you know, growing that from about 7 people to over 70, staff members right now. And that's just like key staff. I have about over another 100 other people, doing a lot of other things. So, being a part of that journey, I was able to understand, things needed to be done in order to keep your cash and then still get the job done. And so right now, what we do is, leverage on partnerships, minimum spend on marketing. We've never done social media ad before. And that's because we know that our target market is not on social media. So we basically don't even do that. So one, we leverage on a lot of partnerships, partnership with, associations, partnership with, financial institutions, partnership with, financial associations, and then we did, very, very little, the, like big marketing, below the line marketing, where we used, like field sales agents and brand agents, to go to, different clusters, go to different locations, and then onboard clients. That way you're able to calculate your, your conversion, your spend. For each spend, you're getting like either a client immediately or you're getting a potential client. So the BTL campaign is what we currently do. Have people on the field, go there, acquire new. Because our solution is more of B2B2C. So again, once you understand, it's about understanding your product, understand what your market is. So our product is B2B2C, so we're not offering it directly to users. We're onboarding agents and merchants, to offer the solution to users. So now we use a brand agents to be able to acquire those people, and then one agent can have about between 100 to about 500 customers. So that way we're onboarding agents, in different locations, and so yeah, that's how we're currently growing.
Okay, I got them question, like you mentioned B2C, right? So whenever a startup founder starts with the journey, whenever it's like B2C target, he says like, I have a target market of B2C, like everyone are my customers. Right? So the persona that you mentioned, you should know you're the market, right? Specifically. So how do you choose the persona specifically?
So again, it's on your product, right? For example, using AjoBank again, you're understanding, what exactly the product is meant for. So again, when you're building your target market, you build a use case. Who is going to use my product? For example, one of our use cases are agents. Or let's go to the users. For example, a user would need to travel about 3-4 hours from their town, to another town just to be able to get access to a bank, right? That type of user, would be looking for my solution, to be able to access banking services. Now, who exactly would provide that solution to that user? It's agents, right? Because AjoBank is not going to be building banks in all of those places, there are a lot of restrictions around that. So who can do this? Agents. They can use my software to provide access to this man, so he doesn't have to travel 4 hours to another town to get access to a bank. So understanding that I need one agent and merchants in every community to be able to provide my services to people. Now, who is that agent? Who is going to use my software to provide services to people? I know that professionals can't do it. They are too busy. Market women can't do it. They are mostly in the market. So who else, right? The other people that can do it are, merchants with retail stores, or young people who are looking for side businesses to do, artisans, who are looking for extra like side gigs, Now these are like the kind of people who I know can become my agents, can become my merchants, right? Now understanding this type of people now, and I'll begin to think. So now that I know who to reach out to, how do I reach out to these guys? And then I know that if I can't look for these guys on Instagram because this person is most likely not on Instagram. And so where can I find? And then I know that, most of these guys have like stores in so locations. And then I can now send my brand agent or salespeople, go to that location where you have artisans, where you have this, where you have that, and then onboard them, right? So understanding, these guys, just create a use case for yourself. The moment you understand what your target market is, create your use cases, create your different use cases, and that would help you narrow yourself into identifying how exactly to reach them.
Uh, I want to know about your core team members, your co-founders. Where you are standing as of now, this will be impossible without co-founders, right? So choosing the right co-founder is very essential, right?
Yeah.
And so most of the time, it's a normal thing. We make a mistake of choosing a right co-founder. Sometimes we are blessed, sometimes we are not. So, how to choose the right person to be our partner in our company, to match the same vision and the same goals and same efforts that we are providing to this company.
So in my own case, right, I actually don't have a co-founder, but I do have a founding team. So the slot for the co-founder is still open, to be honest. I'm definitely yeah. So I left it open intentionally, but so why I did was, I had the founding team, guys that we started, and then I made each founding team member like a lead, in every department. There is a tech lead, there's a marketing lead, there's a communications lead, there's operations lead. So I made them technically like the head of each department. So they handle every person that works, in that department. And so yes, it made it easy, to, like you rightly said, having the right like co-founding team or like the founding team, actually helps the startup, helps the business. So yeah, and in so I think the question was, how was I able to identify and select them, right? Yeah. So some of the founding team, like some of the founding team members are guys that we've been together for almost 5 years. We built the initial startup together, and so they're still with me. And because again, we've been through the journey together, we understand each other. We can communicate easily, and so it just made sense to bring them to, okay, this is what we're building now. Let's work. And so it's just the same guys, and then we're still building, and everybody understands. Because now you understand how I work. You understand that I can call you by 2 a.m. and tell you I thought of something. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this like this? Because everybody understands the way I work, and so it's just easy to continue. And then these are guys that are extremely good, and efficient in their own space. So it just made sense to keep working with them, and that was how I was able to build my founding team, and we've been good ever since.
Okay, what do you think? Like, how should the company structure should be? Like, most of the people do that illusion of 50-50 as a co-founder. Some of their, it's a variety of, series. They keep a ESOP pool, they keep an advisory pool, and lot of multiple things. Even like there is CTO, specifically CMO. So what's your instant like in an early stage when you are already, two co-founders and ESOP pool people? So what should the structure look like? Any specific advices for the founders?
Yeah, so in terms of your structure and then your, shareholding, um, so the way we did it was, it depends on what you're bringing to the table. There are people who brought their skills and also brought finance into it. So technically people like that would obviously get more stakes in the company because they invested both skills and finance. But there are people who brought in finance only, and there are people who brought in skills only. So depending on what exactly you're bringing to the table, we're able to have a discussion, full communication around, okay, this is what you're bringing, this is what we're offering. How do you see? Again, it's communication because everybody has a mindset. You cannot just say, we're bringing you in and we're giving you this percentage. Done. No. You talk about it, we communicate, we set up meetings, as far as, we go out, for maybe, we go to a lounge and then just discuss, we chill, everybody would have fun and then we talk business. The most important thing is it has to be mutually beneficial, to both parties. You don't want you don't want to have a disgruntled shareholder in your team. That person would not perform. So you need to make sure that that person is fine and you're also fine. Then once you're able to reach, through communication, and you guys just sign the contract and then move.
Do you want to
So yeah.
do you want to pitch in on the vesting period, or can hear you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you say that again, please?
So can you just want to pitch in, for the specific part of vesting period and cliff period for co-founders?
Could you rephrase? I didn't get that.
So there are, some norms for co-founders. If they're joining our company, we can keep a vesting period and the cliff period, wherein
Oh, the vesting
they can
period.
get the maturity of 3 years, 2 years, whatever we set the period, right? Or maybe it might get vest in certain phase. Maybe after 6 months, they get, X amount of share. After 6 months, they get an X amount of extra shares. So do you want to pitch on that particular aspect?
So yes, the vesting period, right? Again, it depends on, uh, I think it depends on the founder. To be honest, for the way we did ours was, it was about, again, the time based on our plans, right, and also the functions, right. And then there were different type of contract. For some people, you needed to achieve some things, right, before you have like your full. So it was structured in different ways. For example, there's someone currently leading our strategy, and part of the key metric for that person was fundraising, and so when you're able to achieve you achieve the fundraising, you help us build strategy for market penetration, all of those things, it's part of the vesting. So, and then there's a period for everything. We're not just going to give you open. So like if you're able to do this and this in like 3 years, you get so, and then you get so. So everybody, it's open, right? You can easily see that, but this is what I have access to. This is what I can get more of, when I'm able to achieve this and this and this, and then in this particular time period, and then there's always this, there's always this thing people like to hear. Some of them, I mean, I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, so when we raise, what is my salary going to be like, and then some of them immediately just tell you, I want you to add this in the contract that when we raise, this is how much you're going to start paying me. And then, and then I just want to, I'm able to communicate with them that, wait, it depends on the raise. So it actually doesn't make sense that we are this right now, because what if we say we're going to raise 2 million and then we eventually raise 4? What if we say we're going to raise 4 and then we eventually raise maybe 1 or 1.5, so let's leave that open. Let's do what we have to do. And again, it's communication. But we always set, for vesting, we set targets, we make it part of the metric. And then once everybody's able to agree on that, we just sign the contract and proceed.
Okay. I hope like this, gets a wide idea to founders how to structure their company and, dilute their shares in a vesting and cliff period, which is very much important, I personally think. If this is on paper, I think the next process gets streamlined. Even if you are raising funds, You don't have to carry the burden of, co-founders asking for salary and, all this stuff.
Exactly.
So it is the most needed part for any co-founder or, the founding team itself. Even goes for the advisory and, the investor itself. Moving forward with the investor part, we'll speak about how someone should get investment ready. You got an opportunity that was an upfront investment, right? If I'm right. So not everyone are blessed with the fortune that you got. But there is a lot of efforts to go into the market and, to get this deal done. A lot of rejections and multiple, headaches from investors. They back up at the very last moment after passing on the term sheets. I hope like there is a different world in Nigeria as of now. Where I'm sitting in India is totally different, right? But still there are complications whenever we, get fundraise. So how did you prepare yourself for the investment? What are the paperwork that you made in order to, do all this process streamlined? And at the end, what's your relationship with investors?
So thank you. That's that's a very interesting question. So investment readiness is actually, is a thing. It is a big thing, because I think for us over here, I think, let me say the advantage. I'm sure there are platforms who help you with investment readiness, right? There are also organizations, who just come to you and then ask you for, they ask you to work with you on, your investment readiness. Accelerators also help, to be honest. Accelerators, incubations, these are guys that first prepare you for, but they don't really prepare you. Investment readiness is a lot, auditing your statement. It's an entire process. You have like folders and folders of documents asking you information, and at some point you just get tired, But when you have, so there are a lot of investment readiness organizations over here. Yes, they don't do it for free. Some of them ask you for, some of them charge you upfront, and some of them just ask you for like a percentage of whatever your raise is, and and it's not a lot of percentage, and so it's sometimes you just, when you weigh it, you think, okay, no, let me go with this guy. So I think most importantly, investment readiness is not something you can read up online, to be honest. It's not something you can study on YouTube and then, you figure, no. You need assistance with this, You need to find an organization or somebody, maybe a startup founder, who has gone through the entire process and that can teach you on, okay, this is what you should do, go and do this, get this done. And then, or else, because by the time you start doing your investment readiness, start having conversations with investors, eventually they might look at you as, you're not ready. And, I'll give you an example. In 2020 or 2019, rather, when we're still building our ideas and all, we go into one platform and we got our first offer then. I think one investor from, I can't remember now, but we got our first offer of about 300K, and then when we started the process, we just knew we were not ready. When they started asking for this, sent us all the documents, the filings, this and that, we actually had to turn down the investment, because over 90% of what they actually asked for, we did not have them, and then we knew that we had not done anything yet. So we, sent a mail to them kindly, that at this stage, I think we're not ready for this investment, because eventually these guys, when they deep dive into, the investment and all of that, and then they begin their due diligence, it would be bad when they tell you that they can't go on with this investment, so, we just knew that we're not ready for this investment, and we did not want to put ourselves through the, the craziness of trying to get all of this done, fast, just because we want to take the investment. So, we had to humbly turn down the investment, and then ask them to give us time, to be able to build to the level where we think, they can now invest in us, which is right now, so yeah, investment readiness, please work with somebody, work with on an organization, because you can't do it by yourself, to be honest. It's a lot. And that's just my opinion. If you feel you can do it by yourself, I mean, that's okay. But so you don't go through the headaches and the stress, I think you need somebody or an organization to assist with that.
Great, I think that is the best answer, for our founding people. So I hope like there is a lot to learn from this particular aspect and real time experience at the same time. Uh, so we are into the the podcast. So any advice for specific founders who are into the fintech industry and you want to give them a overview of the founding journey from idea to raising first funds or having that first sales, the first money from paying client. How's the
Yeah.
journey looks like in between? So any advice for
Uh,
these people?
so I think first, especially for fintech, my advice would be, first of all, be resilient. Don't give up. Because there are lots of times where we wanted to, sometimes you can read the room, you can read the energy from your team members, and everybody's like, oh, I'm tired. Been working for so long. So you have to be the energy in your team, right? You don't let the team decide your energy. You have to be the energy. So you have to stay resilient. One thing I noticed is your team members feed off your energy, whether you're, motivating them by day or not, they feed off. When you stay energetic, you stay agile, when they look at you, eventually you see the change again, they start working. But when they become dull and demotivated, and then you also are not motivated, everything just, so you have to stay resilient. And then you need to read a lot, right? You have to do a lot of research. You never stop doing research. Because you found an idea or you found a loophole in the system is not enough, right? Because things change every day. I'll give you an example. There's a company, OP. I'm not sure if you guys know OP. There's a company called OP in Nigeria right now. I think it's a company I think it's from China. It's a startup from China. Or I'm not too sure. Because they have like their tech base in Beijing. But OP is a fintech startup in Nigeria, and they started with bike business, when they came into the country, but they also had a payments app. And so when they started, they started with the bike, like I said, and then the government law, the Lagos state government, banned, the bike business, and then immediately all of their operations shut down, and they now started focusing on, and they kept going, they kept going, but this year there was a new policy by central bank, about what a cashless policy, and then there are digital payment app, and then because that cashless policy that was created by central bank, their user base shot up in millions. Just about 2 months ago, they celebrated 30 million users just because of our cashless policy, right? And so their user base, it skyrocketed, and everybody was like, wow, wow, and so it's just, again, it's a very, very sensitive space, right? And so you just have to, keep reading, keep doing your research, you get ready, the idea is not enough. And then again, the energy, and then have a very, very, very good founding team. Yeah. I think those three things, keep your energy up, stay up, do a lot of continued research, you never stop reading, and then have a great team. And I think you'll be able to build something.
That's amazing. So much of motivation to the founders out there in Nigeria and as well as in India. I hope this message is quite clear for them, and hopefully implement that in their journey, wherein they can grow their team and at the same time get the idea iterated in the market, in the traction part, in the MVP part. If it is about the investment part, they get the right documented done with the co-founders team, and all the stuff that has to be done in order to succeed the startup. To get it launched in the market itself. Lot of things to learn from you, Ove. Thank you so much to to join this podcast and being a guest over here. Lovely having you, and lot of insights from Nigeria. I was this wasn't been expected, and I got really good insights from the market itself of Nigeria. I would love to meet you one day in Nigeria or any places. The destiny will the followers for sure. Once again, thank you so much for your presence.
Yeah.